This is Mark Forth for MTC Media here in Dallas, Texas, home of Errol Spence, for the latest episode of In This Corner, where we talk about boxing. We're going to start off with Charlo-Castano, the rematch. Now, very seldom do rematches actually live up to the height of a first fight, but this one certainly did. Charlo would stop Castano in the 10th round, knock him down a couple times before the referee stopped. This was all about Charlo and the adjustments that he made to win that fight. First of all, he was a much better counterpuncher in the second fight. He also stayed off the ropes a little bit more, kept it inside the middle of the ring. Castano once again outlanded Charlo 194 to 173, but Charlo's punches were a lot more meaning behind the jab. Did a lot of good things off of that jab when he was on the offensive. And for Castano, that's a tough one to lose, where you feel like you might have even fought a better fight than the first time, but this time around you come out with a loss. But to Charlo, now he is unified at 154 for the first time in the four belt era. Like I said, with Errol Spence sitting ringside. Speaking of Spence and Crawford, all the war words are starting to heat up. The only words that the fans really need to be concerned about is the fact that both these two have made it clear that they want to make the fight. And in this case, the guy who is holding the most leverage is Errol Spence. So it's a situation where is Crawford going to come to an agreement of who's the A side, who's the B side, what's the split, so on and so forth. But let's not get this twisted. Spence is the one in control of all of this. Whether Crawford wants to accept that or believe that or not, I think the positive thing that Crawford said is he doesn't want a warm-up fight. The only reason I find that positive is the fact that the last time we saw a warm-up fight that involved Errol Spence was Manny Pacquiao and Udinese Ugas, and we saw what happened. Now Spence ended up fighting Ugas, and that ended up being a good fight in its own right. But I think we all thought, or a lot of boxing fans hope, that Pacquiao gets past Ugas and then he fights Spence. And because of the loss and Pacquiao retiring, that did not happen. So that was a missed chance in a big fight. So this time, as you can see, Terrence Crawford is not even taking the chance of taking a loss in a warm-up fight. They're going to get to it. Hopefully, I've said this all along, I'm hoping that it will be in December, a wintertime fight, or in the spring. Certainly, if those two are fighting in the spring, they should get Cinco de Mayo. I don't care who Canelo wants to fight. He should come off that date. Now, I'm not silly. I know darn well that Canelo's not calling off the date. But truly, Canelo against anyone is not going to be Spence versus Crawford. So we'll see. It'll happen. Last but not least, boxing is returning to D.C. On May 28th. The Battle of Beltway 2 returns back to Washington, D.C. at the Entertainment and Sports Center. The card will feature Greg Outlaw Jr. He's from Glenard, Maryland, so obviously a local fighter with a 10-1 record. He will face Wilfredo Bubez, and he has a record of 22-15, so you would expect for Outlaw Jr. to move on to that. Also, Washington, D.C. native Anthony Peterson, who, of course, is the brother of Lamont Peterson, will face Saul Corral. Peterson has a 38-1-1 record. So if you can get out there, the fight is May 28th, next Saturday. Get out there, watch some good boxing in the Washington, D.C. area. Well, this wraps up an episode of In This Corner. I am your host, Marcus Washington, for MTC